Hello and welcome to the Granger Podcast. I am your host, Kirk Bjorland, City Administrator. On this podcast, we'll provide current updates on businesses, schools, public interest projects, and more.
To be able to kind of craft ourselves in that small community feel where we have that tightness where your kids can go down the street to play with their friends and you know the parents and they can run over to the park and it's safe for them to get there. But also have some of the bigger amenities like a grocery store and a coffee shop and trails to get to Jester Park, which is such a fun place for kids to go. I just am very excited about that.
Well, welcome back to the Granger Podcast. My name's Kirk Bjorland, the host, City Administrator of Granger, Iowa. With me today is Katie Spellman with the Woodward-Granger PTO. Katie, welcome.
Thank you, Kirk. It's great to be here.
It's exciting to hear all the things we've been talking before we came on air here. It's exciting, all the things that you guys are looking at doing. You want to kind of jump right in? I have to give a little bit of, I have some notes here.
Yes.
My kids are out of school, and so I've been a little bit since I've been involved with the PTO or the PTA, but let's talk about Woodward-Granger and all the exciting things you guys are doing.
Well, yeah, of course. I'll start this off by saying I'm a Woodward-Granger graduate myself. So when my kids, I have one son now, he's in second grade. I have a daughter who's going to be 3. So she's coming up right behind him eventually. Yep. But when he got to go into the school district, I got to experience it as a parent for the first time, which was kind of wild because things have changed a little bit since I went to Woodward-Granger Elementary. But, one thing I knew I wanted to do right away was get involved with the PTO. Some school districts call it a PTA, Parent-Teacher Association. We call it a PTO. But it's really just a way to bring kind of all interested parties together. So it can be community members, parents, teachers, school administrators, staff, city administrators. This is a small community. So kind of every single person really does have an impact on the elementary school, or they can if they want to. Yep. And so I started getting involved when my son was in 4-year-old pre-K. And I realized it was a really strong organization already. But we had people that were on their way out. They had 5th graders. They were getting ready to kind of graduate, from the elementary school. And so that's when I kind of stepped in and came into a leadership role. And we have had a really great last couple of years. We're building off of a wonderful foundation that the PTO leadership has already set us up for. But we do just a little bit of everything with the school. I think there's so many things people don't realize that we do. So if you want, I can dig into it and give you some education on that. Let's do it
because it's an exciting time. If you look at what the city's working towards and with the positioning of the school, we're working on that downtown area by the elementary in Granger. Is how do we bring Main Street, that vibrancy back? We have Fairway located. We have new businesses down on the south end of the business park. We have 40 acres across from the roundabout that is under development for mixed use. So, and with the new junior high coming, we have planned a trail system that will connect the elementaries to the community center, to the ball fields, and then up to the new junior high. So, and there's some things when we get a little bit deeper in, I see one of the things you're talking about, traffic patterns and walking. We'll talk about some things we have maybe planned for that we want to coordinate on, but it's an exciting time. I haven't been involved with your group yet, but it sounds like something we need to get connected with. So let's hear all about the PTO.
Yeah, so I think one of the most visible things that we do each year is we do one fundraiser a year. And it is strictly a donation-based fundraiser. That is what the PTO leadership prior to me had really tried a bunch of different things, and the community was loud and clear. We don't want to sell things. There's enough groups selling things, and that's a really great thing. We really just go straight on donations. And it has been, I would say, kind of mind-blowing. I just didn't realize, again, coming in, kind of being a first-time parent into the school district, I just had no comparison. But, over the last couple of years, somebody can fact check me. I think last year we were at 33,000. The year before, I think we were at 42,000. This year we topped over 55,000. $5,000.
Wow.
Which I just like, it blows my mind every time we do this. And it's just from the generosity and the hustle from
Right.
our kiddos. They
Yep.
are the ones out there doing that. Of course, parents,
Yep.
probably help a little bit too, but it's been amazing. And so what we do is I just view ourselves as stewards of the money that the community has trusted us to
Yep.
put to the use for the school.
Okay.
And there are some things that we know, hey, the school needs this every year. So we fund every single field trip from pre-K through 5th grade.
Okay.
Parents don't pay out of pocket for any field trip. We pay for all of that. For 5th graders, they also get to go to BizTown, which is a really special experience for them to kind of learn what it's like to have a micro business for a week. All the 5th graders write us notes afterwards, and they say how much they learned, and I got to be a marketer, and I got to be the president, and I got to be this.
Yep.
It is amazing. So we do all the field trips. And then there's also just lots of different things that are kind of like, I would say, nuts and bolts. So making sure that there are certain supplies that the teachers have each year, making sure that sometimes the central office has certain supplies, just making sure that we can fill the gaps to get the school whatever they need to run smoothly.
Okay.
So those are kind of our yearly, we know this is going to come every single year. One thing we also do every year is a $200 reimbursement for every single teacher. And
Wow.
So we know
Yep.
teachers are paying for things out of their pocket.
Right.
And $200 probably doesn't even touch it. But we can reimburse them every year
Yep.
for $200 worth of classroom supplies. And they are great about using that. And so we love that for them. And so, again, that gets going directly back into their students based on what their room needs.
Right.
So those are kind of the things that are every year.
What
we're
are the
doing that.
numbers? So if you, and what are the grades that your organization supports?
Yep.
Maybe what were the historical numbers and what are they currently?
Yeah.
And if the city has any role to play in that, what might they be?
Yeah.
I know a lot of construction happening in the community and a lot more planned. Hopefully in the next 30 days, we'll be having some plats breaking loose
Yep.
and more construction happening in town along with Greenland and Absolute. But what are the numbers that you service?
Yeah, so we support both the ELC
Okay.
and the elementary. So altogether, it's just over 600 students.
Okay.
I don't know the number right on the
Right.
head.
Nope.
But yeah, it's altogether just over 600 students, and I would say over 80 staff members.
Okay.
That's it, yeah. So 80 staff members or so. And we really try to support all the staff because everybody in the building makes a difference.
Right.
And so we put everybody into that bucket. So those numbers have grown, steadily. I don't know the historical numbers off the top of my head. If you want some
That's
real,
okay. I'm pretty good.
I can give you some
No,
real historical numbers, but
No.
I'm
I'm pretty good at springing wild questions on guests.
I think it's right around 80 to 90 students per grade.
Yep.
Some classes have a little bit more.
Sure.
Some classes have a little bit less.
Yep.
But yeah, so,
Good.
and usually about 4 classroom teachers per grade. Again, there might be 1 or 2 that's slightly off of that based on
Right.
each grade need. But yeah, so that's how many
Current
students we're
events
supporting.
coming up, some of your activities we can look
Yes.
forward to.
Yeah, so we do a couple different events throughout the year. The fundraiser in the fall helps us to be able to do all those. We just had an amazing pancake breakfast in February, which was super fun. In early April, we're doing a bingo night, which maybe stay home on April 10th. It's so busy. Talking about traffic patterns, we have a lot of kids come to that event. That's a really, really fun one, family friendly for the families in the community. And then at the end of April, we're doing something new this year. And I think this is what you're going to be helpful with is we're doing a Little Hawks walk and roll to school on April 22nd.
Okay.
And so one thing that's just become really clear to us is as the community has been growing, you have more students getting to school in different ways, right? So you have more walkers, you have more people on the bus, you have more parent drop off, and all of that just adds up.
Right.
And with the middle school moving to Granger next year, we realized that that's probably not going to decrease the number
No,
of traffic. It's probably
no.
going to increase it a little
Yep.
bit. So, a member of our committee, Liz, has been really instrumental in putting together kind of a safety day, just an opportunity for us to all work together. We're working with some folks in the city.
Yep.
I think our police officer is going to come in and do a assembly for each school the week before, just kind of giving the kids a heads up, especially going into summer when we know that they're going to be maybe having a little more movement going on.
Right.
I think there'll also be a great opportunity for a refresher on this in the fall when school starts back up.
Yep.
But we're really wanting to just help educate not only our students about safe transport to and from school, some of the really basic things, looking both ways, understanding, stopping at stop signs, especially with those wonderful little electric scooters that they love so much, all those things and more. And then also just kind of putting a little bit of a spotlight for the members of our community to say, hey, don't forget, this is a really family-centric community. There are a lot of kids out here during school hours and honestly, just all the time. You can drive through the city at any time and you're going to see some kid on a sidewalk somewhere, which we love. We love these kids getting outside. We love that. But let's all just kind of have this moment to remember how important that pedestrian safety really is.
Right.
Either as a driver, knowing that these pedestrians are around you and maybe they're young learners and they're still kind of finessing their skills at that, and for our students to make sure that they are getting to and from school safely, and as they explore the city all over the summer and get to the park and do all these wonderful things, we want to make sure that they're doing that safely.
Yeah, and I think this is a good time. I haven't had the opportunity to speak with you. I know that on the list, it's Granger City Hall and Public Works and Police and Fire and EMS, and so a lot of good things happening. I'd like to use this time to maybe get information out to the public and with your organization. We want to be pedestrian and bike friendly. And so we do have the trail plan to go from the elementary to the community center. That should be extended yet this spring. And then when Sycamore Street, Lord help us that gets completed. It's scheduled. We had some utility conflicts and then some weather, but they're going to get rolling on that again here soon, within the next 30 days. There's a couple areas we want to make sure and focus on. One is our Public Works Director and Police Chief came to me, and they want to talk about the push button flashing lights for pedestrian crossing at Lowell and Sycamore, and then also at White Oak in Sycamore. But I think now's an opportunity for the PTO to partner with the city and to partner with Granger Economic Development. And Alicia Van Drimmelen is our Park and Rec Director, Community Engagement Coordinator. She also has been vital in helping lead a Trails Committee in the past. And then Dr. Janning is now our new president of Granger Economic Development. I think it makes sense for our 4 organizations to get together and talk about how do you overlay a trail system for pedestrian traffic. I'm going to let a little bit of information out of the bag in that I'm currently working with Polk County Conservation, Grimes, Johnston, and Granger. What's the trail system look like coming through the community? Now, that's a long-term plan. And we eventually will probably have a solution to get over 141. It could take 20 years. But there's a project happening where the Brenton Slough, Polk County Conservation is turning that into a 1,100-acre park. It will be a fairly natural park, not a lot of concrete, not a lot of trails, but there'll be natural trails. We're coordinating with Grimes right now. How do you come from their trailhead to the Brenton Slough, then into Granger? I think it would be good to lay that overall plan together. And then how do we begin, as we're doing platting and expansion within the community, we want to make sure we have the school and PTO input and economic development at the table, the Park and Rec and Trails, and then our administration. How do we overlay that? And I know that's kind of a big, here's a thought, but I think that's, as you're looking at the micro piece of how do the kids get to school, we want to make sure we're out ahead of that.
Yeah.
And as the community grows, how do we become that pedestrian friendly? The final piece of that is we're working on a solution so that we can be the key between connecting the Brenton Slough, Granger, and Jester Park, so that we become a part of that loop and tie back into the metro. So exciting times. Not to hijack your PTO piece, but I think that's something that we probably ought to bring our groups together and have a hard discussion on what's that internal piece look like for the community to get the kids. We'll have the major link going up Sycamore. There's discussion of how do you come out of the east side of the school of the new junior high and back to town. I think that's worth us having a conversation over.
Absolutely. And I mean, while we, tend to think focused on getting the kids to and from school safely, I think you'd be hard pressed to find a single member of our PTO or of any of the parents that attend that would be not in favor of kids being less on screens and more outside on trails. For us, it comes up often, and so I think one great and powerful thing about the PTO is you have a group of parents, that while there's never one solution and there's always lots of different opinions and views to think through everything, it is a really great way to hear from parental input. I don't live in Granger exactly. I live outside of the city. So when I drive my child to school. So my experience is different than a child walking to school, right? And so it's so important to get a variety of those viewpoints. And I think our PTO can do a really great job of bringing those people together and helping kind of give that feedback. So all those different inputs can be put into place. But I will just say I love the spoiler because I would love to see more trails. I would love to be connected to Jester. We're out there all the time. I think everything you've laid out sounds really exciting.
And it's exciting because we're a bit of a blank slate. In that a lot of we were talking before we came on air, your family owns some farms and does farm. A lot of that, I often say, we are growing. We don't own the land. As the landowners make their land available for economic development and housing, we just want to be in a position to accompany that. So we know that we're going to grow. We just want to make sure that connectivity works. And then how do you do that internal piece, to kind of pull us back? One of the first things I mentioned was we're considering, should there be flashing lights internal in town and at what intersection? So I think that's something that we should discuss. I will say they're not cheap.
Well, I won't speak for every parent, but I will say I think that things that we can do to bring more awareness to the other drivers, especially knowing that younger drivers, some of those maybe middle school students that might have a learner's permit early on, or that their high school sibling might be coming to get them and things like that. Anything we can do to really drive awareness and safety on that, I think would be really probably well received.
Was part of the design for the roundabout north of Sycamore. I know that there's mixed feelings about roundabouts. Part of why we did that one, it's a natural barrier to a speed zone as you head straight up Sycamore. So
absolutely. I know roundabouts they're a hot button topic. It sounds like
they're popular with Department of Transportation right now.
Yes, so. I have come to see that. So
So what other projects and things are you looking at? So when is remind the viewers again, when is the walk to?
Yep. So the Little Hawks walk and roll, and parents that are maybe hearing this, information hasn't been sent home yet, so it's coming. The assembly will happen the Friday prior, so they can get some great knowledge, and then that will be on April 22nd. Okay. And so it's actually happening before school, so we want to make it as realistic as possible. We're not trying to create a fake environment for students to learn. We want them to learn this is what the traffic patterns look like at 7:45 in the morning when you're walking to school. We'll have lots of adult support and community support along different pathways. This would be a great time if you've maybe a parent that hasn't had their child hasn't had the chance to walk yet because maybe they weren't feeling super comfortable with that, this would be a great learning environment for them to
Right.
try it that day.
Yep.
And so more information will be coming out. We'll have different kind of drop zones throughout the city to make sure that, whether you're coming from this area or this area, you can kind of have a centralized meeting location and practice those safe skills to school. But it's really designed to be during the normal traffic time of a busy day, which is before school and after school. We're not doing anything after school. It's just the before school drop. But,
Right.
just making sure that they get an opportunity to practice those skills with extra awareness from everybody,
Right.
including the drivers.
I will say for the viewers, we know that we have a problem coming out of Twin Eagles onto Highway 17.
Yeah.
I do want the viewers to know we're in current negotiations with Reeder Corporation, who owns the 40 acres north of Twin Eagles. We're working towards a plan to get connectivity of that road to give Twin Eagles a second option to come out and to have a traffic pattern through the roundabout, which will hopefully take pressure off of the south intersection. I know that we have a lot of families that live there.
Yeah.
I know that we're filling buses when we go in there, but we want to. The city is working on a plan. We hope yet to happen this summer to get some connectivity out of. So those who are listening to this, we do acknowledge there's an issue there. We're working with DOT. Probably not a whole lot more that's going to happen from DOT at that intersection. So we're going to go ahead and probably invest. Initially, we weren't going to invest in those roads. We're going to wait for that to just kind of naturally develop. The city sees a need, and we'll probably do some kind of partnering to get the road connected and get out of Twin Eagles and get to the elementary more safely.
We have a lot of friends over in Twin Eagles. I'm excited to hear that happening.
Yes, yeah, it's not a safe intersection.
Yeah.
And with the new stop sign down there, we understand that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
good.
Wonderful.
Good.
I love hearing all these sneak peeks. Can I just come every week and chat with you so that way I can just get more and more insider information?
We'd love to have involvement, and that's why I said it'd be great to partner with a PTO and how do you overlay that plan? And what is the goal for the city, and we're here to partner with landowners and other businesses, and we know we're going to grow. The school is a vital part of that and a key link for our ability to attract business, to attract families, and the quality of life. So I greatly appreciate what you guys are doing. And
I have a fun little fact. Can I share it real quick as we think about the school and the growth of this community? Like I said, I went to Woodward-Granger. I think so many of us still think of this as a small town community. And I think for a lot of reasons, we still identify like that. We're still a 2A school. That still makes sense.
Yep.
But I think what people need to think about is like putting ourselves in the mindset of a bigger community school district that can push ourselves to do a little bit more or to think a little bit more broadly. As an example, with the PTO, I mentioned the fundraiser we do. It blew my mind. And then my sister, who has girls in Waukee School District, very large school district here in central Iowa, shared with me their PTO fundraiser. We made the same amount of money as them. We made the same amount of money and actually more than Ankeny.
Yep.
And I don't think I really understood what our community was capable of until I can see some of those numbers. And not everybody gets a chance to see all those. And so I think that's helped me be like, how do we keep all the great things about being that small town? The reason why people came to Granger, the reason, but also enjoy the growth. I have loved having a fairway here. Yep. I'm there almost every day. Yeah. It makes me so happy. Yep. I love that our children, as they get older, are going to have, employment opportunities within the community. That really didn't exist when I was here growing up. There's so much capable that the community is capable of that I think that we hold on to all the great parts that make us small, which I think is that connection piece, and then really enjoy the growth that can come from the community growing, from those land opportunities, and find the balance of those two things, because it's not one or the other. It's really both, and it's just making those mindful decisions and partnering with folks that have those same values to be able to kind of craft ourselves in that small community feel where we have that tightness, where your kids can go down the street to play with their friends, friends and the parents, and they can run over to the park and it's safe for them to get there. But also have some of the bigger amenities like a grocery store and a coffee shop and trails to get to Jester Park, which is such a fun place for kids to go. I just am very excited about that. But I think I would just really challenge everybody to think about, like, we are a small community, but we are capable of so much. And, just that one little example of like how we match donations is insane to me. And really it wasn't until that somebody pointed that out to me this year and I was like, oh, wow, that's really cool. So I just think there's so much great opportunity coming forward to us.
And that's exciting. Another thing kind of came to mind that we need to bring the PTO to the table. So we're currently working with Granger Economic Development to put a marketing plan together of why Granger. Yeah. And I want to be careful to say we're not out there stomping on the gas for growth because we're just going to push growth. Yeah. We know it's coming. If you look up the whole west side from Van Meter up through West Des Moines to Waukee, to Clive, to Urbandale, to Grimes, it's happening. Yeah. I don't want to say we're not capable of stopping it. We're not trying to stop it because we don't own the land. Yeah. But we want to be at the table strategically so that we're growing in a strategic manner, and all of that is happening. So with that marketing plan, it'd be good to have the PTO at that table to say, why Granger? Yeah. What are those things? Because we're at the point where I'm specifically targeting industry. Yeah. How do you bring, and what is it? What is that industry that you want to town? What will make what would make the school better? What would make the community better? And let's do it strategically. Myself and the mayor and the city council, we're wanting to position ourselves so that we are a vibrant community. We value, I come from a small town. I come from a 2,400 population in Southern Iowa. Yeah. And that's why I came to Granger, was that sense of community. And how do we keep that and then build upon it? Yeah. We know that we're not going to stay small. We're with 141 and Highway 17 and the commuter traffic. I'll answer a quick question. No, Quick Start hasn't committed to us. We've asked. Every time something breaks ground, Facebook blows up and, is that Quick Start? We're trying. Market's pretty saturated for them with 2 and Grimes. But we're looking at what are those businesses and that we want to attract, and how do we what fits the school and what fits the pattern of the community, and that is our goal. Yeah. It isn't to expand and bring anything that will come. We don't own the land. There's lots available for sale. Yeah. Not as in a lot, but there are specific lots platted and available for commercial and for housing. But we want to partner with the PTO, and like I mentioned, what's the trail system look like, and what's the next step for a business, and where do you go after a school event? Yep. And how do we support the businesses that we have, but what are those other businesses that attract more people? Yep. And so we're looking at the trails and transportation and walkability, and after a ball game or a school event, you can walk downtown and have pizza, and you can have ice cream, and you can mingle and socialize. So,
well, we've already seen the kind of the economic side. Like the PTO has already seen the benefit of that, and as a result, the children and the staff will too. For example, with Fairway, they came in and they have been an amazing partner so far. And one thing specific, Teacher Appreciation Week is coming up in early May, and they are going to sponsor a yogurt bar parfait for the teachers in the morning. Now, normally that's something that would come out of our budget, but because they were able to step in and provide some of that, that means that, a couple $100, we now get to allocate that in a different way that's going to go to the students, to the staff, to the building, whatever is the need. The administration often lets us know, like, what else do we need? Where can we put this money? But with the economic kind of growth that we've already seen just in this year of a Fairway opening, like, we are already seeing the effects of that. Excellent. And so, small businesses, Vintage Road, like, all of them, when they are donating something, when they are helping us in some way, it allows us to put our money in a bigger impact. We did the turf last year at the school. It was a high dollar project, and we weren't the only people that did that. We were a small part of it, but it's because of companies in the Granger area being able to step in, and every couple of $100, that was something more that we could allocate to a bigger project.
Right.
And so we've already seen the benefit of those companies coming in, and I think absolutely would love to partner. I know there's several businesses that would be on the wish list of the parents in the Granger community. So
well, I think we are at an opportune time now with that, and I think we bring the community together and have those discussions. Who do we want to target? Who do we go after? I think the city's in a position. What's going through the legislature right now isn't a lot of fun for cities, because they're looking at capping our ability. And I'm all for not increasing taxes. And the city of Granger has worked really hard to not increase our levy limit, and we haven't over the last several years. But as the legislature is looking at capping that number, it's at 3% now, and it might be capped at 2%. But how do we want to strategically grow as a community? And bringing the PTO to the table would be fantastic. Let's do it strategically and have those conversations. We will be aggressive with incentives to bring key businesses to town. Increase in employment. Some of those of the larger numbers are bringing employees. We want to be at the table. How do we do that and attract them and build the school? Hopefully we have an impact on the PTO, and you guys have more students and teachers to partner with. But anything else you want to touch on as we begin to wrap up?
No, I just think one thing I would leave with is just the overwhelming support the PTO has gotten from the community, from the city. I think we're just starting to scratch the surface on pushing for trying new things. Like I said, we had a great foundation to build upon, and we've got a great leadership team on the PTO in place. And so, things like the Little Hawks Walk and Roll Day, partnering with different city administrators for that. The support has been amazing. And with the donations that we get every fall, it just continues to grow. And so for that, I would just say thank you to anybody that's listening, because everybody has an opportunity to make an impact in the lives of the children at the school. And specifically, thank you to the city for really continuing to be mindful of that. I don't think you have an easy job, Kirk. So there's probably a lot of things that you have to balance throughout the day as you're making decisions. And I just think that we're in a really good spot. It feels really good. I'm so excited for what the next 5 years come. And if people continue to have that mindset, I think it'll just look really great for our community overall.
Yeah. I appreciate that. We have a good team in place. We are small. Yeah. You look at our numbers, but we have a committed public works. Our city hall staff with Christy and Karen do a fantastic job. Our police department, our fire and EMS, good things happening. Park and Rec are doing great. Libraries always at the top, and
you'll find us at the library a lot.
Yes.
You'll find us at the library a lot.
Yeah. So a lot of good things happening. We're proud of the community. We know that growth is coming. Yeah. We know that we have to kind of buckle down and because we're in a really good financial position, but we've got to grow strategically, because we're not going to raise taxes. But I thank you for coming and being on the podcast. We're excited to partner.
Yeah.
I think we could do a lot of great things, and if there's ever anything you need, feel free to.
Well, I have your email now, so you'll probably hear from me a few times.
Good.
Thank you.
With that, I want to thank you, and thank you for joining the Granger podcast, and have a great day. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Granger podcast. Make sure to follow us on social media for updates on the next show, and we'll see you on the next episode. The Granger podcast, empowering success and fueling growth.